Coming up next, more detractor content and after that Dragon Ball Z, only on Toonami.
So DSP has given us another wonderful snapshot on how uninteresting his life is and how his parents have failed in raising a functional adult. I'm going to play the clip real quick and then we will get into my thoughts and opinions.
Just I think you're used to time passing when you're older. When you're 5 years old, a year is a fifth of your life. When you're 40 years old, a year is a 40th of your life. That is true, but at the same time, Goldfish, here's another thing that's an astute observation I've made. When you're young, right, you got a lot of time. It's not like, oh, you're a kid, you wake up, you immediately got to do this, then you're doing 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 this, and you do this, time for bed. It's not like that when you're young. When you're young, it's usually like you get up, you go to school, you come home from school, you do your homework. Okay, now what do you do? Well, I got a bunch of free time. What do I do now? Right? Or it's a weekend. You're not at school. What do I do? You got the whole day to do whatever you want. Right? But what's the problem when you're a kid? You don't have the means to do what you want to do. Oh, I want to go over a friend's house. Well, there's no way to get over there right now. You don't have a car and your parents aren't available to drive you over there and maybe your friend's busy or doing something. Oh, I want to go to the park. You can't get there. There's no means. What about I want to play a video game, but you don't have any money to buy one, right? So what ends up happening is you have all this time, but no means to do what you want to do. So what happens? Boredom. And boredom makes time pass incredibly slowly. So when you're a kid, you're bored a lot. And because of that, time barely passes. When you become an adult, all of a sudden, every moment of every day is already pre-planned and assigned to something because your life is so busy, right? Like for me, I woke up today, I immediately had to get up, use the bathroom, shave, shower, have breakfast with my wife, feed Jasper Kitty, get the food out in the backyard for all the animals that are out there, clean up the downstairs a little bit, come into the office, set up the stream, get the stream going, stream chat, attune everything here, approve comments, check emails, get the stream going, do the podcast, play Elden Ring, just find the time to take a piss and shit between there at some point, go downstairs, have dinner with my wife, clean up after dinner, maybe relax for 30 minutes. Get back to the late stream, set up the stream, talk with everyone in the stream chat, get the stream going, play Stardew Valley, interact with everyone. Oh, end the stream, upload the videos, set up the schedule for the next day, go downstairs, make the list for tomorrow's shopping, do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my life, like, boom, 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 boom. And when everything is full, when you have so many things you need to do, time just, zoop, passes by like so fast. You don't have a time to just, like, sit here and relax. Like, literally right now, watch this. Here's something you don't have a time to just like sit here and relax. Like literally right now, watch this. Here's something I almost never do. I'm just sitting here. I'm breathing calmly, relaxing. I don't have 100 topics to talk about immediately. I'm not rushing into the game. I'm not rushing to answer every single one of your tagged comments. Right? And now, time is actually passing more slowly. It is. I can feel it. It feels like things are more relaxed, calm, right? But how often do adults get to do that? Right? You're so busy, you have to cram in a million things today. So, and so time, boom, 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 flying by. But if something bad happens, right? If you're being tortured by something, if you're being bothered by something, then it's like you just want that moment to pass as fast as possible. But because you're in that moment of pain or suffering or annoyance or whatever it is, it feels longer. And that's when time passes slower again. No, OMG, I'm not going to play Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. I don't care about it.
So in his summary of like what it was like being a kid for him, like generally we would draw on our own experiences of growing up. And what I notice in like the way he like defines being a kid is like you have all this free time but no means in doing it, shows me that his parents never put any responsibility on him, which is why he grew up to be one of the most incapable, lazy, just useless adults. And it's actually pathetic considering how many life lessons this man likes to hand out. Like every story that we've heard of him, like having an actual job and how he would complain about like how certain things weren't in his job description, he would push back against authority when they'd ask him to do additional tasks. Kind of like it makes sense now because when I was younger, and I'm going to be talking about like how I grew up and how people that I know generally grew up. and I understand like everybody was parented differently. But when I was younger, I had responsibilities placed on me by my father. Like, I grew up in an immigrant household. I couldn't just hang out all day, be bored, as DSP likes to put it. Like, yes, I still had a childhood. It's not like my parents completely stole my childhood from me by giving me things to do, but there was expectation of me from specifically my father, and where, like, let's say it was a weekend, he would wake me up and he'd be like, "You're coming with me to work." My father was an independent contract, well, still is an independent contractor. So he would have clients that he would go and work almost 12-hour days, and I would have to tag along with him. And I would do, this was like from, I would say maybe when I was like 6 until throughout high school, until I went away to college, I was constantly being recruited by my father to go and work with him. We would have to do things. I remember one time we had to go on top of a gas station and replace some sort of like, it might have been like some sort of AC unit or something, but it's like the overhang above the pumps. We had to go up there, and I was terrified of heights and young at the time. And my dad would yell at me during these jobs because I wasn't as proficient in him in going up and down ladders, as working with the tools. Like, he did a lot of the actual like mechanical work, and I was there just for support, run and get tools, get the supplies, hold the flashlight. How many times I was told to go outside when I was younger and hold the flashlight for my father while he was like fixing a car or some other sort of machinery that we had on the property, is numerous. I couldn't tell you the amount of times he would have me do that. My father, when he would come home and he saw me doing something that he considered unproductive, like either like if I was watching TV or if I was playing games or like drawing, which is something that I liked to do a lot when I was younger, he would throw a huge fit, scream at me, scream at my mother. Again, this is like an immigrant household, so that's just how it was growing up for me. Tell me to get outside and just assign me tasks. Like, it could have been at any point of the day, 8 o'clock at night, he would tell me to go do something outside for like 2 hours or whatever, and it was insane. He would, I remember one time he brought home cobblestone that was unearthed. It was like under blacktop. Wherever he got this cobblestone from, it was covered in tar, and he got pallets of it. And he came in the house. He said, "Hey, come outside with me. I need you to help untar all this cobblestone, and then we're gonna line all the garden beds." And that was something I had to do. When you're a kid, you don't have these things planned out. They're just thrown on top of you. He taught me to mow the lawn at a young age because that was one of my responsibilities. I'm the oldest of a few children. So when my mother was pregnant, I had to learn how to help her with laundry and dishes. Like, my parents made me responsible because they didn't just want me sitting around. And I'm thankful for that now, because when I was younger, I didn't realize like what all these tasks and responsibilities were helping me do was build up work ethic. So as I got older and I started working jobs and I started being assigned things that maybe weren't part of the job or were like additional things that I needed to do, I didn't throw a fucking tantrum like DSP does for every little thing. This is why, like, every little thing that he has to do for his dumb stream, anything that's not like just sit down, turn it on and go for it, is a huge undertaking for him. And that's why we got like the rant about how he didn't do any research in 10 years of looking into Fightcade and what security issues that may cause. This man never learned to do anything. And like I said, like, it's not like my parents stole my childhood away from me. Like, I still got to spend time with my cousins and my friends when my father wasn't around and didn't need to work on anything or came home super late and I was already in bed getting ready for school. Like, I still had a childhood, but I didn't have this, what seems to be just like completely idle childhood that DSP seems to be stating that everybody had, in the way that he's presenting his statement as to like what it was like being a kid. Which is like why when he talks about his schedule now, like being an adult, he does the stupid little thing where he tries to talk fast as if he's so encumbered and overwhelmed with work that he needs to do. Any of us, like, obviously, like any of us, like the detractor community, like, we all have real lives outside of this. We all, I mean, probably excluding Doody, who is retired, but a majority of people that make content have families, have real jobs, have real like responsibilities and expectations of them. Whereas when we hear DSP talk about how quote unquote busy his life is, it's infuriating to an actual grown ass adult who's doing something productive to try to help out, you know, society. Which is why, like, I can't believe that, like, his audience, like, I don't want to be terribly critical of his audience, because a normal functioning adult would listen to that and be like, this guy's an idiot. So there has to be some sort of development issue, which, I mean, we've identified a few times that DSP's audience does have developmental issues, can listen to that and be like, oh, okay, that's just how it is. And I personally, I don't want to be too critical of maybe an individual who does have a developmental issue, especially because, like, I've worked jobs where I've worked with people who have cognitive issues or head trauma, which prevents, you know, certain cognitive functions. Like, I've worked with those people firsthand, so I know that they can't grasp certain concepts or certain things because of the damage done to their brain or the developmental issues that happened with their brains. But it's pathetic that, like, this is the audience that he cultivated, and he just uses them to prop himself up to sound more important. You know, like, I don't want to give, like, specific details because I feel like that's just pretentious, but, like, by the time noon hits in a day, I've done more things that needed to be done involving, like, responsibilities and just, like, chores around the house than DSP does in an entire day of what he considers work. Which, if we think about, like, what he outlined in his quote-unquote busy day, he doesn't talk about doing any, like, household chores like laundry or cleaning up, like vacuuming, cleaning the house, cleaning out the cat's litter box, taking care of, like, Jasper, trimming well, he doesn't have nails, but, like, grooming the cat, like any maintenance that would be required for a cat, or any maintenance that's needed around the house. Cooking, he doesn't mention any of that. Like, there are responsibilities that he, like, solely just shoved off on cat so he can be unbothered by them, which again is a complete failure on his parents' part. His mother failed him, his father failed him. They created an individual that is incapable of doing anything actually productive, not only for society as a whole, but, like, even for themselves and their partner. God forbid DSP has a child. I'm so glad that he has said over and over and over again that he does not want to have a family, and I hope it stays that way, because if DSP is this bad, he would be unable to create an offspring that would do any better than him. Anyway, that's kind of my rant on this. Fuck DSP and fuck his supposed difficult life because he's so busy. Anyway, bye.